Good afternoon, welcome. So we had our first class. How many of you were there in the first class? So in the first class, what was our conclusion?
We want to avoid discomfort.
We want to avoid discomfort, and definitely we want to liberate ourselves from the pain. And anyone who is seeking this exit from the pain can be considered as a seeker of liberation. That is a gross understanding. The finer understanding is, a little bit more deeper understanding is that everyone, irrespective of place and time, is seeking to go away from pain. A seeker is different from everybody else. The seeker has analyzed and concluded, at least intellectually, that the mechanism or the methodologies that the seeker has implemented to go away from pain is not working. If it is working, then it's done. Is it clear? Make sense? So that is the conclusion, that I have tried to go away from my pain, whether it is physical, psychological or mental or spiritual pain. Spiritual pain is mostly loneliness or being alone, being incomplete. That's spiritual pain. And it is different from psychological and mental pain. I will come back to that. But nevertheless, there are three kinds of pain we have divided. You can divide it further and make it 6, 10, 11, doesn't matter. So I have tried to get away from pain by doing some things or achieving some things. And I have concluded through very systematic self-analysis, observing others, observing the society, observing myself, that these methods that I have implemented or deployed to take away pain from me is working only temporarily. First. Second, my ability to hold on to that solution is also limited. Second. Third, it is so fragile because the instruments that I am using to get that happiness out is also not reliable. So for example, let us say that whenever a friend of mine told me that it's something you might be knowing, that when some people when they're stressed, they eat. They chew something, they eat something. Now let us say that when I am stressed, I take some food and I am happy. It's going well. Perfect solution. Many mothers, they say that when we get stressed, we try to cook. I might have heard. Like cooking helps them to remove stress. Now think of a mother who is in stress and comes to ashram here. There is no cooking arrangement. What to do? So suppose some stress is being taken away by taking some food. What if you have blisters in the mouth? What if I cannot swallow anything? I have stomach problem. Then what do I do? So this body, the instrument that I am utilizing to get away from pain, is also not reliable. So these are the things the seeker analyzes. So the difference between an ordinary person and the seeker is this, that the seeker is getting everything, but he is analyzing. He said, is it going to hold? Is it something reliable? And with we discussed, with this question, with this doubt, with that I am continuously getting pain, I am trying to get away from pain, some of the pain I am not able to get out of, first. Second, those pain that I am able to get out of, I do not know whether I would be able to hold on to that solution for a long period of time. My ability to hold on to it is very limited. Now, I am approaching a teacher because now I am seeking. Now I need some answers. Now suppose somebody, and there are people, somebody says, oh, I am fine actually. I am unhappy and I go and walk in the mountains and I am happy. I am fine with it. I do not need to analyze, nothing further is needed. And fine, and that individual, you might have made friends, they said, okay, my life is good. I have job, I have enough money, family, cars, everything is going well. So I don't need, you ask him, come and take meditation, learn initiation. He said, that's waste, because I am fine as it is. Actually, the person is fine. The person is actually fine. It's just that the seeking aspect of it within that person has not developed. So as and when the seeking aspect would develop, that person would also seek. There is no way. But till that happens, how much psychological pressure you give as a friend or a family member, not going to work. So this seeking aspect must come from within. That's why many times you have heard that we say in general conversation, the time has not come. You have a friend who is a family member, the person is struggling, and you offer him, I say, why don't you come and learn meditation, might help you. No. That because the seeking aspect of that, the seeking understanding of that person has not kicked in. So now that I would like a permanent solution, or I think a permanent solution could be helpful, so I approach a teacher. Do you think anyone other than that, anyone would approach a teacher? Do you think any other path is there for somebody to approach a teacher? If so, I would like to hear that, or we would like to discuss that. Like, what could be the other reason for somebody to approach a teacher? Let's think.
To say my way is better.
Huh?
To say their way is better, to debate.
No, then, explain to me a little bit more.
I just think of times where other people would come and debate what they want to debate.
But then they are not approaching as a teacher. They are not approaching as a teacher. Suppose you go to a doctor to debate whether the medicine is good or not. Then you are not going as a patient. You are going, but not necessarily. The moment we approach somebody as a teacher, the dynamics are very different. Because I am fundamentally here to solve a problem. And I seek your knowledge, assuming that you are wise enough to advise me. Suppose the teacher the teacher could be a great master, but not able to address my question. A great doctor, suppose, a very famous doctor in the town, and you have stomachache, is not able to help you. Will you go to that doctor?
Not again.
Not again. But suppose your grandmother is able to help you. Whenever you have stomach problem, the grandmother is able to give you 2 grains of or 5 grains of cumin seed and is solving your problem. Whom we will go to? The grandmother. So actually, a teacher is actually, that is why it is said that the teacher and student relationship is a very fundamentally beautiful one, is because I have come with some difficulties. It could be a question, it could be a pain, it could be an answer I need to seek, a fundamental doubt, and the teacher is only assuring me this much. First, the assurance. The teacher may not solve a problem actually in the beginning. Many times that's experience. Many times you will come to Guruji, might have experienced. You say, Baba, this is the problem. Baba said, I will pray for you. Has happened to you?
Yeah.
It's only an assurance. It's a trust that now that my request has been transformed into a prayer from my Guru, some transformation will happen, some solution will come to me. Problem has not gone away. Or there is a possibility that the problem will remain with me as is, or maybe increase, but my capacity to accept and strength, my strength has come back, that my capacity to tolerate it, persevere it, has gone up. This might happen also. So there is a disease, for example, and there is a knee problem, for example. You come to, suppose, Master, Baba, I have a knee problem, very painful. I am praying for you. One solution is the knee problem will go away. The second solution is my tolerance will increase. The knee problem exists. So the Gurus may solve the problem very differently. But this is the assurance the Guru is giving that a solution is possible. And this is the first level of contact the teacher and student put together. An assurance first, an assurance that your problem that you are going through is resolvable. Does it make sense? Suppose, and we can talk about how that assurance is coming from. Like, suppose you come to me and say that, well, there is rain. I said, okay, nothing will happen. You said, I mean, what are you talking? It's just raining, cold, and you say nothing will happen. The assurance must have some background. We'll talk about that. But nevertheless, that assurance is coming to me. And if and only if I am little bit open to accept that assurance, then a relationship starts, a conversation starts. And that conversation or the relationship may take years, sometimes like decades, to flourish, to build, to strengthen. But the starting point is this, that I have been assured that the problem, physical, mental, spiritual problem that I'm going through has a solution which is not fragile. Would you agree with this? Where that assurance is coming from? That assurance cannot come from, so you suppose you one fine day, take our example, one fine day you come to Sri Guruji, you have never met him. Sometimes, and these are called, we have that Gaussian curve, these are called cases that cannot be generalized. In some cases, people have deep connection in the very beginning. They come, they meet, and they said, I'm done. This is the person who is going to guide me, no question asked. This is actually can happen to some people. One time, you have heard of Roy Eugene Davis, right? How many of Roy Eugene Davis? Have you met him? Yeah. So one time he came to Miami, and he was joking. So he said, you know his story, that he read autobiography of Yogi and hitchhiked to go to California. He said, I arrived there and I'm sitting there and Master means Paramahansa Yoganandaji was coming. And he said, I was expecting that he will come look at me. He said, you have come. I have been waiting for you for so many years. Nothing of that happened. He said, I was feeling that he will be excited to see me because I felt that I am connected for life and nothing like that. He said, where have you come from? Like it was an ordinary conversation. So many times we read like very inspiring books and we said, that's what should happen to me. In a traditional seeking methodology, generally it's not like that. With great men, it might happen. So the conversation has started where the teacher has assured me that this pain that you are going through or the solution that you are seeking, there is possibility exists. And the assurance doesn't come from him as an individual. And that is the most important part. It must come from tradition. That means he must have been, his assurance is coming from where? Oh Guruji, how did you know that whatever you are assuring me, how did you know? He said, well, I was also assured when I was seeking. I was also assured by my Guru. He was assured by his Guru, and so on and so forth and so forth. And then there is scriptural assurance. So hence, the assurance cannot be just like that. That it has a scriptural background, scriptural strength behind it, and it also has the strength of lineage of masters. So hence, I am feeling a little bit secure that something is there. You go to a doctor, and these two examples have been given parallelly. You go to a doctor, and you arrive there and you say, I am having knee pain. The doctor says, I will do a knee surgery. You will immediately come home and look for the biography of this, biodata of this doctor. Which university you went to? Suppose you found out that there is no data of his education. Will you go to him? Or you will? You will? All right. And then this is the first, that this doctor has come from Johns Hopkins or Harvard or Princeton or wherever, well known. I can trust him up to a certain extent. Then I will look for that, okay, what is, I mean, these days it is easy to do all this. Then I go to internet and search for WebMD, this, that. How many people with knee problems are going for surgery? I'll look for that, right? I'll explore that, right? So I look for that cases like me, what are the solutions given? And many times we go for a second opinion. I'll go to another Harvard doctor and see what he says. So if 5 doctors say knee surgery, I'm fairly convinced that knee surgery is the solution. I may not do it, but that's the solution. There is no alternative. Similarly, the scriptural injunctions and the assurance from the lineage, together if I put it, this assurance is very convincing to me, or at least gives me some confidence that there is a path forward. Makes sense? Is it clear? There is another one also, like I may check with others, like my sister is doing, my brother is doing. I said, well, you have been meditating. Is it true that it is helping you to take away your pain? No, I have been meditating for 20 years, nothing has happened. Then I would not come to that place, right? How would I? So that kind of second, but nevertheless, I must experiment it now. So the experimentation has come. So so it is called tentative acceptance. Please remember, tentative acceptance. Guru's words are always tentative acceptance. Anyone who says that I accept my Gurus fully, he's trying. Baba mentioned about a great master. He accepted fully and he got realized. The moment that acceptance becomes full, then we are done. Deal is done. Most of us are into tentative acceptance. We are struggling, sometimes accept. So this tentative, and it's tremendous amount of struggle, and this is sadhana. This is the struggle, that I accept at certain level, I also don't know. I meditate, sometimes idea comes that meditation is not helping. Then sometimes it comes that meditation is helping. This up and down struggle as we go through, this has been called as self-experimentation. So there is a statement by Sri Gurudev Paramahansa Hariharananji, meditation is self-experimentation. So we meditate for no one. If you are thinking I am meditating to emancipate the whole world or for the betterment of the world, that is tertiary goals. The primary goal, the secondary goal together is that I am experimenting on myself. Why? Because I was in pain. I want to get rid of pain. The pain could be physical, the pain could be mental or spiritual. So the experimentation has started. Clear? So do you think now whatever we have discussed, I am not suggesting that is full-fledged watertight logic, but I think it is fairly strong logic we can discuss. My question is to all of us is that if we put our life into this principle, some kind of pain in life, I tried to solve it, did not find a proper solution, or whenever I found a solution, I found it's like water going away from my hand, and I approached a teacher or a teaching. Teaching and teacher are same. Teaching and teacher are same, one and only. These are statements from masters. So you cannot, we cannot disrespect teaching and respect teacher, not possible. Similarly, we cannot disrespect teacher and respect the teaching. Very cautious. Teaching and teacher are one and same. So, for example, our teaching is Kriya. The Kriya is a conscious technique. My understanding is that the technique after a while starts working within us in a very conscious way. The gurus, and we are fundamentally blessed that we are able to see physically a master. The guru is manifestation of that conscious teaching itself. How many of you were there in meditation yesterday? How many of you are not there? Not there. Yesterday Baba guided meditation and day before yesterday Baba guided meditation. You might have observed that after the meditation, a simple statement Baba is making, simple statement. He says, and correct me if I am not telling properly. He says, perceiving God in you, I bow to you. Remember that?
Yes, yes.
What did he say? Say it again.
Perceiving God in you,
Perceiving God in you, I bow to you. What exactly it means? Perceiving God means that the master is assuring that here I am sitting in front of you. I am a manifestation of that whole fundamental scripture, and I am saying to you with full confidence, full assurance that God can be perceived in all, and I am telling you that I am doing it. I think not yesterday, day before yesterday, Baba said I am listening to the sound continuously. I am watching the breath all the time. Those are practice. Those are practice. Beautiful. But analyze this statement that when somebody comes and says, an individual who looks like us, talks like us, I mean, assuming that suppose we don't know Baba in an airport, he's another ordinary person, right? And he makes that statement. He said, perceiving God in all. This is what Acharya Shankara talks about that person. If you go back home, look at verse number 65. Chant with me. Not that I want to teach you Sanskrit, but the words are so beautiful, it's good to just utter it also. Sarvagang
Sat Chit Atmanam Jnana Chakshuhu Nirikshate. Ajnana Chakshuhu Na Ikshata Bhaswantam Bhanum Andhavat. This is the words, so let us chant it together. Sarvagang Satchidatmanam Sarvagang Satchidatmanam Jnana Chakshuhu Nirikshate Ajnana Chakshu Niriksheta Bhaswantam Bhanumandhavat. I'll just read the simple meaning. He says, Acharya Shankar said, now we talked about that, the scriptural assurance, right? The Guru must affirm the scriptural assurance to me. Through what? Through his own experience, through his own realization. He says, I will read Baba's. Though the self is pure, self means consciousness. Though the self is pure consciousness, please focus on each word and ask yourself, because the word itself will penetrate into the thought process and remove misunderstanding. Though the self means, when I say myself, yourself, though the self is pure consciousness and ever present everywhere, it can only be perceived by the eye of wisdom. Just as a blind person does not see the shining sun or resplendent sun, one whose vision is obscured by ignorance does not see the self. I don't know if it was clear, I will read it again. Self is pure consciousness. Sarvagang means it is all pervading. It is Satchidatman, Satchid. The Atma is Sat and Chit, that means it is existence and pure consciousness. Jnana Chakshu Nirikshate, that individual who has Jnana Chakshu means eyes of wisdom. No. Jnana Chakshu means simple, eyes of wisdom. Whose eyes are full of wisdom, that individual is able to see the self or pure consciousness in all. Okay? Ajnana Chakshu, those eyes which are not, have been purified by wisdom, they don't see it. Like, an example has been given, like a blind person does not see the shining sun. Shining sun. The sun is shining. A person is blind. He does not know. This is actually the eye of knowledge. Now, and we will go to some description of what that individual who has eye of knowledge. Now let us come back to our meditation teachings Baba is giving. When Baba says that perceiving God, God means consciousness. God means consciousness. God means pure consciousness. Let us just remember this. God means pure consciousness. Sat, Chit, Ananda, it says. Chit is what pure consciousness is. Sat, what is the meaning of Sat? meaning of Sat is truth. Now, like, how do you explain, again, come back to 5-year-old. How do you explain a 5-year-old what truth is? How do you explain that? Reality. So I am your 5-year-old son. I say, Mom, please tell me what truth is.
Speaking exactly what it is.
Not illusion.
Not illusion. You will tell that your 5-year-old son. Then you will ask further, Mom, what is illusion? There is a joke. He said, what is God? God is infinite. What is infinite? Infinite is, what is that? Cannot be measured? Unending, unmeasurable.
Infinite.
But no. I did not bring that to have a. But for example, what is the word truth means? She mentioned it very practically. Truth means what is there in the heart, there in the throat, there in the mouth. That's the truth. Is it? Speak truth, for example. That's not what the truth in scripture is. I mean, that is not limited to that. Not that is not. So this is the definition of Sat I have understood from the teachings. Sat is a relative term. Sat is a relative term. Like near is a relative term. Near. So suppose I ask you a question. Are you sitting near to me? Then the answer would be near to what? Is Chicago near to Detroit? Chicago near to Denver? Then the question arises, well, in comparison to what? Comparison to London, Chicago is nearer. Yeah. But compared to, for example, Aurora, Denver, Chicago is not nearer. So this is the definition of Sat. Sat and Mithya, which in English has been used as false. So truth and false, right? But we will use the word Sat and Mithya because it is easy for us to decipher that way. So word Sat and Mithya. Mithya, what you have heard? Anyone who has not heard the word Mithya? Mithya. Mithya. M-I-T-H-Y. It's a Sanskrit word. Mithya. And then there is another word called Asat. There are 3 words. So Mithya is this. And please be attentive because I will also struggle to explain it. So I will try. And if there is a gap, please let me know. If I take a piece of cloth, the piece of cloth is made up of threads. Okay. So thread is Sat, cloth is Mithya. So what it means is that the substratum upon which cloth is arranged. So cloth is an arrangement of threads. Can we say that? That arrangement can be changed. I can change it. I can take the thread out and change it differently. Then it won't be called as cloth. It would be called something else. So thread is needed for the cloth to exist. But thread can exist by itself. Cloth cannot exist without threads. Is this analogy clear?
Yes.
Anyone is not clear on this? So hence, thread is Sat. Cloth is Mithya. Relative. Now let's go to thread and apply the same logic. Now thread exists because of the molecules of cotton molecules. But cotton molecules can exist by itself. It doesn't need to be a thread. But a thread cannot exist without cotton molecules. So hence, as soon as we apply the technique of Sat and Mithya, the logic, then thread become Mithya and cotton molecules become Satya. Is it clear? So you see the nearer thing, right? So I say, she is nearer to me compared to another person. Then as soon as I make a comparison, what about him? No, he is nearer to me than her. So this near, like a relative term, as we apply more and more. So who is nearer to me? Similarly, if we go on applying this Sat and Mithya logic to the cotton molecule also, the rishis are the great masters are propounding and are telling us that if you go on applying this logic of Sat and Mithya, you will come to a conclusion where the everything is based on something, and that thing is not based on anything, and that thing is called God. That thing is called Sat, that thing is called God. So it is said, it is not only that God is within us, it is that we are made up of God. And these are Upanishadic teachings. And Baba said the other day, he said, Anandat khalu imani bhutani jayante, the other day said, right? That from this joy, so the God is defined as three. Sat I mentioned, Chit, what is the nature of that is pure consciousness, and Ananda means, what is Ananda means? Ananda means bliss, but to understand it, Ananda means fulfillment. Ananda means fulfillment. That is filled in such a way that there is no incompleteness. Only when there is incompleteness, then I will need something, right? The body does not say that, well, it looks like 2 hands are not enough, hence I need another 2. Because body is not incomplete in a regular sense. When our eyesight goes down, then we feel incomplete, that I wish my eyesight was a little bit better. So this Sat, which is a pure consciousness in nature, is the substratum, and the word has been used as Adhara, Sarva Adhara. I should have marked that. Sarvadhari. He says, Hrut Akasha Udito hi Atma Bodha Bhanuhu Tamo Apruhat Sarva Vyapi Sarva Adhari. Sarvadhari. So this pure consciousness is Sarvavyapi. Must be Sarvavyapi, right? Must be all pervading. Otherwise, how it would be full? Assume thing. Suppose I am not available from here onwards down. Suppose you touch here. He said, Swamiji, did I touch you? I said, no, I am not available knee down onwards. Suppose. Then somebody is available there. Suppose somebody else would be available. Which means that I am not fully available in this whole body. So to say that God is Ananda, just to say it, it must mean that God is completely full. Otherwise, the logic will not hold. Because if you say God is not full, then there is something else is there. When we say God is all powerful, it's not that actually that God is more mighty. That is actually a very raw understanding. All powerful means, in mathematics, we have the formula called integration. So that means integration of all power is God. Your power, my power, his power, her power. Everything actually together is God's power. Must be full. So he said, Sarva Vyapi. Then he said, Sarvadhari. Sarvadhari means sustains all. Must be, right? Because if the moment I find something is holding God, then that becomes God. The definition. Does it make sense? The definition is that anything that holds the other one the other one is called mithya, this one is called satya. Now I go down, 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 and I find this is where I am not able to go beyond. So this is God. So the rishis or the masters say, this whatever you come across and beyond that you are not able to, this is called sarvadhari. This is the substratum. Adhara, Vishwadhara, one name of in the mantra he said, Shantakaram, Bhujagasayanam, Padmanabham, Suresham, Vishwadhara. That means the whole manifestation is built by this ingredient. Does it make sense? Is it clear? Not clear? So Baba says in 67, the self or Atman, the sun of knowledge that rises in the sky of the heart, destroys the darkness of ignorance, pervades and sustains all. Pervades, permeates, this is the word used. So when the master is telling that I see God in all, what exactly do you think from our limited understanding? So the Jnana Chakshu, the one who has enlightened eyes, is seeing that primordial principle. You and I, we saw eyes, head, beard. We saw that. The master also sees that. But he says the Jnana Chakshu Nirikshate. It's a beautiful. I would request you to go back to it. He says, Sarvagang Satchidatmanam Jnana Chakshu Nirikshate. That the one with enlightened eyes, Jnana Chakshu, that individual, he or she, he sees Sarvagang, the all-pervading Satchidananda, all-pervading Sat, which is Chit. So he or she sees the substratum and he sees pure consciousness. This is the goal of the seeker. Why that goal is enticing? Because we said, well, it looks like I am fine without this vision. I am fine without it. Because somebody can actually say that I really do not need Jnana Chakshu. How many of us need Jnana Chakshu? I am fine with my own Chakshu, my own eyes. To contradict that, I would take one more minute. There are few verses about some experiences the great master who has Jnana Chakshu or the eyes of wisdom, eyes of enlightenment is going through, is experiencing. Some description of it. I wanted to read one of them. Listen to this. It is 58. So let us read this together and then we'll conclude. So this is, and there are other verses if you would like to study, that what could be the great master experiencing in that state where the pure consciousness is perceived continuously by the realized master. What are the other experiences he is having? What is that something I would like to go there? Akhanda, Ananda, Rupasya, Tasya, Ananda, Lava, Ashritaha Brahma Adyaha Taratamyena Bhavanti Anandinaha Akhilaha. So this is 58. Those of you who have little bit of Sanskrit knowledge can understand this. Akhanda Ananda. Remember our goal? Please go back to our goal, our desire. Our desire was we were getting some happiness, but it was not continuously remaining. It was going away, it was fragile, we are not able to hold it. What the realized master is having? Akhanda Ananda, unbroken, indivisible bliss or contentment. Clear? That individual who has unbroken, indivisible bliss, the deities, even the creator of this universe, they have only a particle of that contentment. So Baba says, deities like Lord Brahma, the creator, and others provide only a particle of the taste of that unlimited bliss of Brahman or God, and proportionately enjoy their share of that particle. So that is why only if someone through some process, and the process for us is our practice, through some process creates a mind or creates the eye of enlightenment, jnana chakshu, then and then only the person would enjoy akhanda ananda or unbroken, indivisible bliss or contentment. So, the assurance given to us by our teacher is that, look, akhanda ananda is possible, indivisible, unbroken contentment or bliss is possible, and there is a path I am going to give you. The path is given depending upon the teacher. For us, the path is the practice of Kriya. And how do you know that you have achieved? When jnana chakshu nirikshate, when through this enlightened eyes, you are perceiving pure consciousness all the time. This is the assurance and this is the confirmation the Guru gives. Makes sense? Is it clear? So, let us close our eyes. May, with the blessings of God and Gurus, all of us realize the truth within as inner self and remain in akhanda ananda or unbroken bliss or contentment, and may we perceive God, truth, divine, pure consciousness by purifying the mind and thereby making our eyes the eyes of wisdom. May the blessings be upon us all in each and every moment. Om Tat Satam.